In addition to securities exchanges, securities can also be bought and sold on the so-called over-the-counter market or OTC market. Now, the OTC market usually does not have a specific location. It's usually an organization of different computers or banks that trade securities with each other. This is done fairly informally compared to securities exchanges. There's a lot less regulation, sometimes no regulations at all, and the securities transactions usually involve securities that are not standardized, or at least far less standardized than their counterparts that are traded on stock exchanges. Now, we'll talk a little more about OTC markets later on, but first of all, I'd like to go through a few typical characteristics of securities exchanges. First of all securities exchanges are regulated by some form of central national authority. In the US, for example, the stock exchanges are regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission, which is more commonly abbreviated as the SEC, and this institution has the job of regulating the way that securities are traded on every U.S. stock exchange, as well as protecting investors that carry out their business on these stock exchanges. Secondly, so-called securities brokers play an enormously important role for investors on stock exchanges or securities exchanges. If we go back to our analogy of buying food, whenever we buy food, we'll walk into a store, choose the products we want, put them in a shopping cart, and then finally pay for them at the checkout counter. Buying and selling securities on a stock exchange doesn't work quite like that. First of all, there are no shopping carts. Secondly, and more importantly, stock exchanges don't allow just anyone to carry out transactions in their venues. Rather, only the members of a stock exchange are allowed to buy or sell securities. And typical stock exchange members are large financial institutions. You usually become a member of a stock exchange by either being one of the founders or by buying a so-called seat on the stock exchange from one of the founders. Now, obviously, these seats are limited. Just think of the fitness center that you work out at. It probably also only allows a limited number of members because otherwise it would be too full. And so when you join a fitness center, you pay an entry fee and then you become a member. The principle of stock exchange membership is actually quite similar, except that the members are said to purchase these so-called seats rather than membership cards. Also, they usually don't have to take physical checkups when they join. At any rate, since human beings like you or I usually don't have seats on a stock exchange, if we want to buy or sell securities, we have to go through a financial institution that is a member as an intermediary. In this case, the institution takes on the role of a stockbroker. It receives orders from individuals like you or me, executes them, and then receives a commission for its services. A commission is a payment for service that is usually a percentage of the value of the service carried out. We can classify these brokers into two general categories, namely full-service brokers and discount brokers. A full-service broker is the more traditional type of broker. Specifically, a full-service broker carries out trade orders for you, but in addition to that, will also provide you with specific individual research information and will also help you in developing long-term investment strategies for your retirement or for estate planning, for example. In contrast to that, a discount broker is only paid to execute your trade order. The discount broker buys or sells a security for you. That's it. The trade-off is that discount brokers offer their services at a far lower commission than full-service brokers do. And one area where discount broking has been particularly successful is via the internet. The most prominent example for an online discount broker is Charles Schwab. The service is cheap and convenient, But the level of individual service is, of course, far lower than is the case with the traditional full-service broker. All right, the next keyword on the list is the trading floor. And the trading floor is that area of a securities exchange where the purchase and sale of securities is actually carried out by the broker. You all know this area from various old Hollywood movies where you see dozens of overweight balding men hopping up and down in a circle, and in the end securities find new owners and dreams are either fulfilled or lost. Nowadays, trading floors don't play the same role that they used to, because particularly in Europe, there's a very strong shift away from what was called an open outcry system, which is this system of brokers buying and selling securities via hand movements, let's say, towards so-called electronic trading systems, where more and more purchase and sales orders are entered into a computer via keyboard and then fulfilled at central computer locations. Next up, Ebert and Griffin talk about bull markets as opposed to bear markets. And as I am sure you know, a market is bullish when the most important securities on that market are said to be appreciating, meaning gaining in value. They become more expensive. There's demand and confidence in the most important stocks that are traded on this particular market. In that case, the market is said to be bullish or is said to be a bull market. In contrast to that, if there is a lack of investor confidence in the stocks that are traded on a particular exchange, and if investors tend to sell these stocks, driving their prices down, then, if this is a trend, we speak of a so-called bear market, or we could also say the market is bearish. Please continue by watching the next video.